All right, guys. So the Jaguars news cycle rolls on, and today we got the tweet from Adam Schefter that the Jaguars are expected to put the franchise tag on Evan Engram, tight end. And this is something that was one of the worst kept secrets out there. I mean, we got a bunch of really just people on Twitter talking about it. A bunch of the blue check marks. You had, Evan Engram going on some podcasts, talking pretty confidently about, his return to Jacksonville. He even put on Twitter that he thought the Jaguars dropped some news about him returning. So, yeah, like I said, it's been like the worst kept secret. And even, John Shipley of Jaguars Report, an AFC Pro Scout actually told him that the Jaguars won't let Evan Engram leave. It isn't a secret. Every team knows it. So, everybody, all the fans, teams, Evan Engram, everybody knows that he was going to be on the Jaguars. And news came out today that the Jaguars are expected to place the franchise tag on him. That is worth $11.3 million. It comes straight off the cap. So pretty high number hit there. Now, Evan Engram last year signed a 1-year, $9 million prove it deal. And boy, did he ever prove it. Last year, he had a career year of 73 receptions for 766 yards. That was a personal career high for him. He was also fourth in the NFL in receiving yards amongst tight ends. And he set a Jaguars season record for a tight end with both receptions and receiving yards. So it was definitely a good year from Evan Engram, a very good marriage between the Jaguars and him. And he really turned his career around because a bunch of people from New York were just, when a Jaguars signed him, like they hated the guy. I mean, they say he always gets hurt. He drops the ball a lot, but he was relatively healthy for the Jaguars last year. I believe he played every game. And look, he didn't have, I can't remember any drops that he's had. Of course, there were probably some drops in there, but I can't remember any big critical drops. And, he didn't have any of that. So, that's pretty good. Now, the franchise tag, it's not a definite thing. All it does is buy the Jaguars time. A year ago, the Jaguars placed the franchise tag on Cam Robinson. And then, later on, a couple months later, they wound up working out a long-term deal with him. It's the same thing with Evan Engram, where, really the only guys that you would think they'd put a franchise tag on that are kind of eligible for it or worth it would be Evan Engram or Jawan Taylor. And it doesn't sound like Jawan Taylor would be back, which we'll get into in a moment. So, if you want to bring Evan Engram back and you're not going to use a franchise tag on him, on anybody else, you might as well just put it on him. Lets you buy some time to keep trying to work out a long-term contract, one that will lower your cap hit and one that's just, more friendly than just a bunch of guaranteed money right off the cap. The big deadline here is July 17th. That is the final day where the Jaguars can rework a deal with him to where he's not under the franchise tag. So that's more than 4 months of time. So there's plenty of time to be able to, work out a deal. It's just, this at the moment just, allows you some time to be able to work something else out. So, yeah. And like I said, Juwan Taylor, as we get more of a feel for it, every day I'm getting less confident that he'll be back. It looks like they'll probably roll with Walker Little at right tackle with Cam Robinson at left tackle, and then maybe a lot of mock drafts are having the Jaguars drafting a tackle. They need a swing tackle in the worst way now, because once Juwan Taylor's gone, then swing tackle becomes an immediate need when it comes to a backup, because last year Cam Robinson got hurt and then Walker Little stepped in and played really well. Next year you're not going to have that luxury with the unless they go and draft somebody. Like last year, you had a really good second round pick just sitting on the bench. So, yeah, we'll see with that. But yeah, July 17th is a big day to look out for. And, Jags free agency, it officially begins in 2 weeks. And Jaguars aren't expected to be very active, but, we're going to continue to see the Jaguars do some roster management, whether it's cutting guys or, maybe re-signing some free agents, a bunch of stuff, could still happen. So let me know what your thoughts are. Are you glad we kept Evan Engram? Keeps the Jaguars receiving core intact. And yeah, with all that said, go Jags.